YouTubing for how many years now?
7.
2 years. All right, guys, welcome back to another Star Wars with the Boys Master Apprentice stream. Yeah, how you doing, Afton?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
Yeah.
Anything exciting happened? Anything new this week?
No, nothing too crazy. I mean, acolyte is gonna be fun, but
yeah,
pretty uneventful.
Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes Grand Arena 5v5 has been going, so that's fun. So mobile competitive Star Wars game, like an over top turn-based strategy game. I don't know, it's a fun game. We've talked about it a couple of times, and I think eventually I would like to build some sort of content around it. There's nothing really going on right now, so it'd be kind of hard to start right now, but maybe when there's some hype and some new content coming out, we can do some stuff around it. But other than that, nothing else really new. I guess the newest thing is Acolyte. I don't really know how to go about this without like making kind of like we're obviously not big YouTubers. We're relatively small still. But, I say that with confidence. We're small still, right? But like I still have I like on our Twitter and even sometimes our Instagram, Master Apprentice podcast on both. So look us up and follow us if you feel like. Well, actually, we don't do anything good on those, so don't worry about that. But we do like to talk with the community and stuff, right? When we repost things, and I'll also like on those accounts, I'll go and try to like insert myself in some other Star Wars community conversations with like big YouTubers like Star Wars Theory and things like that. And this, like I said last week, the Acolyte's been a very divisive show, and I've been trying to keep a positive head in it. I don't think it's as bad as some people say, but like, last week's episode, for instance, was pretty rough. There's no way of getting around it. And the episode before that was also pretty rough. I think they're like 2 for 2 right now. 2 bad, 2 good. And the 2 good weren't like great. They're just like good, right? And the 2 bad, they were a little bit more than bad. They were pretty rough. So it's not trending positively. But some people are treating this like it's the worst thing, since plumbing.
Everyone knows how much they hate toilets being inside their house,
Plumbing's terrible. I mean, I hate having to use a plunger. So, yeah. And with that being said, this newest episode, I think it's interesting because if you look at it, I don't know, if you look at it in a fresh light, you're putting it in a broad daylight and you're not looking at all the controversy surrounding it, all the pre-established politics pumped into this, it's not a bad episode. I actually think it's pretty cool. I think it's actually the best episode so far, I would even argue. I liked 1 and 2, but they weren't like great. They just had good pacing, some good choreography, and the visuals I thought were good. And yeah, so episode 5, I actually really enjoyed. I say that lightly. I didn't like really enjoy it. Like Kenobi's finale, I really enjoyed. Kenobi's finale still sticks with me. I don't like the Kenobi series all that much, but like the only reason I look at that show positively is because that finale was amazing to me. And this wasn't like that, but it was good enough that it left a good taste in my mouth. But some other YouTubers, and not to like, and that's why I kind of pulled some names out already, not to starting crap with any other Star Wars content creator, but like people like Star Wars Theory or like Darth Chaco, 2 guys who are on very opposite sides of the spectrum when it comes to this show. It's not either one or the other, right? This show isn't the second coming. Like this show isn't amazing. It's got its faults, no doubt. Episode 3 really wasn't that good. It's very cringy, but you can kind of forgive it because Star Wars is built on cringy. But episode 4 is bad. It's not really cringy. It's just kind of bad and boring. It's actually pretty boring. Nothing happens, nothing significant. It contradicts itself in lore and in the show itself. It's not a good episode. But episode 5 steps away from that, and it's actually really fun and very interesting. So kind of like a short breakdown. We leave off with the Sith kind of showing up, and that's kind of where we leave off. We pick up with that, and he's fighting everybody, and he's pretty much messing everybody up. All the no-name Jedi that were there, they all pretty much get destroyed, and we see it happen, right? he's just cutting through them, and it's kind of a cool fight scene. I enjoyed it. And then after that, not a whole lot happens. The couple of them, the main Jedi, right, like Sol, May, Osha, Yord, Daphne King's character, I can never remember her name. They're all kind of like fighting, running away from each other, fighting, and but essentially it kind of like ends with the Sith revealing himself. He's Khmer, the alchemist guy who made the poison for. I can't remember her name all of a sudden. Not Osha.
May.
For May. Which wasn't a surprise. Everyone kind of understood that, which was a disappointment to me. I wish they had done a better job of like making it like a cool Sith, like I don't know, or just something new. It was very obvious that was who that guy was.
Yeah, he happened to be on the planet and kill Kanaka
Yeah,
while they're there, and
none of us questioned that wasn't him. We were all expecting that, and that was a disappointment. But then he gets revealed. I assume this is Star Wars. Yeah.
Star Wars with the boys, yes, sir. This is in fact Star Wars.
Yes. That is true. That is in our stream. I didn't think about that. Anyways, the Sith guy reveals himself, and then he kills Yord. And he kills the Padawan chick. And I gotta say, that was a pretty freaking awesome scene. I think most Star Wars fans appreciate it when Star Wars takes a dark turn. Because for the most part, Star Wars is usually goofy and cringy. But when they can take a serious turn and kind of be dark, fans appreciate it, right? Like the whole Revenge of the Sith, Order 66, people loved. I personally love Vader and Kenobi when he was walking through the town. That scene was very real.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Rogue One. That's a very serious, dark show or movie. That show's kind of divisive. For the most part, people like it because it's very serious. It's very different. And that's kind of what the plot of this was. It was just a very dark, serious thing. I enjoyed it. The end kind of ends with Sol and what he assumes is Osha get away, but May knocks Osha out, takes her place, and escapes with Sol, and then Osha is left unconscious with Khmer, the Sith. Yeah. End of episode 6.
Oh, we're talking about dark things.
Oh yeah, yeah. End of episode 6. I mean, Empire Strikes Back. Luke gets his hand cut off, right? I guess A New Hope doesn't have too much dark, but at the same time it does. Like Ben Kenobi evaporates, but at the same time Luke sees his parents or his aunt and uncle
dead body.
Yeah, skeletons, right? Burning skeletons. So like there's always like those dark turns, and I think Star Wars fans usually appreciate it.
Yeah.
Because it kind of brings some reality into what is a out of our world galaxy, right? That's the whole point of Star Wars. And so it's always fun when that happens. And I think that was the best thing they could have done with this Sith, and I enjoyed it. Some other things. Green
saber versus red.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that.
But shoot, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, the whole like people were arguing it's not a Sith. So like the line from Phantom Menace, Chaotic Money saying we haven't seen a Sith in a millennia. That can't be canon if this is a Sith, and everyone's saying, "Well, we don't know if it's a Sith." He comes out and says it's a Sith. The guy says that right there, and it's kind of been established. If the Sith kills all the Jedi who know it's him, I mean, like, what else?
Yeah.
Then they don't know. So then he's still a mystery and undercover, right? So you could still have that. It's not technically lore breaking yet. Revenge of the Jedi. No.
Return of the Jedi? Yeah. Green saber versus red?
Yeah, I don't necessarily know what you're saying. Anyways, someone like Star Wars Theory who's saying like this is terrible, like this is a 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10. Everyone's privy to their own opinion, like couldn't call it revenge.
Yeah, I guess the Jedi are getting back at Sith. Return of the Jedi.
Well, I'm pretty sure that was. I don't know if it's true, but I heard it was supposed to technically be called Revenge of the Jedi, but they called it Return of the Jedi instead. I don't remember the exact rules of like why they did that, but I had heard that a long time ago too, and I mean a long time. I heard that like 5 or 6 years ago. Not really, kind of beyond the point, but the Star Wars Theory is a good example. He's the biggest Star Wars YouTuber, bigger than Star Wars himself on YouTube, and he's kind of clowning on this. And like I said, everyone's privy to their own opinion, but someone like Darth Chaco, who thinks this is absolute gold, is like it's not gold either. There's a lot of dumb things. That was the rules. Oh, the rule was established by who though? Like did Hollywood say they can't call
was that
revenge?
how they got it like PG-13? You said?
Oh, that would make sense, I guess. But either way, I think it falls somewhere in the middle. Someone like Den of Nerds. I know. I'm just looking off a lot of like the bigger YouTubers of that space.
I mean, a lot of people will say Kenobi was trash. They will. They don't like the Reva arc. They don't like how a show was called Obi-Wan Kenobi, and half, if not more than half, was an arc around a brand new character who doesn't really develop into very much come the end of the show, right? She's not going to affect the main plot pretty much at all. We wanted Kenobi content. We got a good bit of content that wasn't Kenobi. But when you look back at it, there was those amazing episodes. The finale was awesome. The episode, I believe it was 6, where
there's only 6 episodes. The thing with that is like you can look back and say there were some pretty crappy things, but I think like most people think like there were some really good scenes from it too, right? Like everyone's opinion is each their own, right? Like you choose what you like and don't like. I can't change that, but to say like making an objective statement like this is terrible, the choreography is terrible, I don't think anyone thinks that. I think the lightsaber fighting in this is probably some of the best Disney has ever put out. I'm not saying it's like obviously Revenge of the Sith is the pinnacle of on-screen lightsaber dueling we have ever seen. No one's gonna argue with that. Phantom Menace right next to it, right? Like that's obvious. And while the Acolyte might not live up to it, it's pretty close. It's up there. I'm not gonna say it's on the same stage, but like there's the first place stage pedestal, second stage, third. It's on like the top 5. This is a very good episode for lightsaber dueling. The execution of the Jedi that the Sith killed were sudden but very, very harsh and quick, and it was very good. I enjoyed it. The small nitpicking of things, you're gonna have that in every media ever. You pick and choose that. If you're looking, this is the best way I can put it. If you're looking for something to not like about a show, you're gonna find it in every TV show ever. I promise you, because that's how it works. That's how this works. This is art, and art is an objective thing, right? You can decide what you do or don't like. Sure, there are some things that are factually just bad, but for a lot of time, it's not always, right? And I don't think this had a lot of just really bad things. This actually had a lot of good things for the most part. The lightsaber fighting was very good. I thought the dialogue in this episode was way better than we've seen in the last 4 episodes. Still not great, but better. The costuming, in the setting and all the display work, I think really good so far, or at least in this episode. The CGI and
no way.
The CGI, and it might not be like Revenge of the Sith. I think Revenge of the Sith has some really great CGI, right? And the CGI and all the visual effects from like the sequels is really great. This might not be on par of that, but this is better than any of the Disney Plus projects we've gotten so far.
Yeah, and
I would say out of 10, I would have to give this a 6.5 or 7 out of 10. I walked away trying to find some things about it, and like I went and watched a bunch of like other breakdowns and reviews, and I found myself disagreeing with people who gave it bad reviews. They were like, "Oh, the choreography was bad." No, it wasn't. You don't have to like it, sure, but it wasn't bad. Most people agreed this was good. So for the people who said it was bad, you don't have to like it, but I would disagree that it's bad. So that's one thing. The dialogue has been a big complaint throughout this show, like the acting. It was much better on this, right? The pacing I thought was better in this one. Um, a lot of the things that have been problematic throughout the show have just been better in this one. So I think it's 6.5. I guess I want to give it a 7, but just because I don't know where this is going to go.
Yeah.
Right. We had 2 decent episodes and we had 2 garbage episodes, and now we're in a good episode. This show could turn out to still be pretty crappy for the last 3 episodes, and I don't even remember about this show later on. But for the most part, just thinking about it, I enjoyed this episode. I'd give it a 6.5 out of 10.
One thing that I think's been taking my points when I grade these episodes, for lack of a better term, when I say how much we like them, is I don't really have much stake in the game, for lack of, I don't know, stake in the game, I'd like to say, because when I watch Kenobi, I sometimes see things like, oh, young Leia, that's just so cool, right? It's just a character we see later on. We never see her as a young Leia. That's kind of cool to see her in this stage. And then in Boba Fett, you see Cad Bane, a very much loved character brought into live action. It's like, that was a cool thing. We've seen one character, as far as I'm, maybe another in the background, Ki-Adi-Mundi, and I'm not sure how many others, if any others, and he's not really a big part of the main plot at all. So it's a lot of, this is, not that I'm not enjoying it. I love these factors of the Force being used in different ways. I love a lot of different aspects of this, but big thing is, a lot of people might not like this because they're not familiar with the characters and they're not seeing this beloved Obi-Wan Kenobi on the screen. They're not seeing these people that they love to see beforehand. Might not feel like Star Wars to them just because they don't see the characters they like. I mean, if I watch this as a standalone series, which it almost feels like at some points, it doesn't seem amazing, but it's there. It doesn't seem horrible yet. And again, 5 episodes in, episode 4 was very much a filler episode. I think this one I'm going to give I think I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I really don't have very much to complain about. And when I put it in that objective, if I'm just going to sit there and watch it, did I enjoy myself after I watched the episode? I think I did. So I want to put myself at about a 7 out of 10 for this episode.
And, like the way I look at it, and this is if you're going to be an objective, if you're going to be an objective, like you're going to review it and you're going to try to not be biased towards past projects, future projects, and the project you're looking at, you have to judge things in the same way. Right? You don't have to. You can do whatever you want. But as a person like me who, reviewing, trying to see what I enjoy, don't enjoy, and I come out once a week and I give you guys a review and a breakdown. We have a decent amount of viewers from this on YouTube and podcast. We actually get more on podcast from these than we do on YouTube, which is weird because overall we get way more views on YouTube. But I do my best to be, as fair. I look at everything in the same light. I try to. There's silly, goofy things that you take away from this, like that was dumb. Like, oh, this Sith, he's so powerful, but he got swept away by these bugs, and then he killed them, and then he got back to them. Yeah, that was part of the plot. It was a plot device to get him away, so the main character could somehow escape. Right? It's a little goofy, but Star Wars has that kind of stuff all the time. You're telling me Yoda fought a Sith Lord and then managed to escape him through the vents, which was like 10 feet below the clone troopers who were searching for him, with Palpatine right there as well. Like he couldn't just find him. Like, like there's little small goofy things in each project you could pull apart and say you don't like. And that might not have been the greatest examples, but I'm saying like that's just one example of small little goofy things throughout each project, right? For older projects, it kind of just turns into memes at this point, the silly, goofy things. But now they're the devices to rip things apart, and that's just not fair. If you're going to try to be subjective or objective about it, that's not how you review things properly. Like people are like, oh, how did the Sith kill all the Jedi so easily? Then he struggled against the Padawan. And, you can make those kind of arguments for every little thing, right? Yeah. Savage Opress and Darth Maul, they're able to kill multiple Jedi through the Clone Wars, but they've struggled with certain Jedi that they probably shouldn't have, like Ahsoka, right? So things like that, those are just little things, right? You can pick and choose. The important things are like things that break the continuous line of the lore and canon. You don't want to break that because that makes a story seem disingenuous, right? It seems like people aren't paying attention to the story, and then that just makes it seem disingenuous. Acting matters, right? Like the dialogue in episode 3 was just like it was factually not good. I could have done better, right? Like it wasn't good. They stuttered. The lines weren't deep. They had no meaning behind them. They were very bare. It wasn't good. The acting wasn't that great either, right? The things like that are different. It's important to take it apart, yes, but also at the same time review this project how you would review the other projects in media. That's how you gotta look at it.
Yeah. Dialogue is something that if it's said one way and then completely lied the other way, like that's just, hey, it was objective, the words here. But situationally, like the Sith being caught up in all this kind of stuff that maybe he shouldn't be caught up in, it's like that doesn't technically contradict, that just seems goofy. And I mean, as Sammy said before, Star Wars has been goofy for a long time.
There's some things that are just like absurdly goofy, like Boba Fett. The whole episode, the whole show was just full of stupid goofiness, right? So the goofiness pulls away from everything, then it's not good, right? But like I don't think like the small little goofy things in Acolyte are so terrible. Episode 3, they were because it was based on the girls, and the girls were just goofy, way too goofy, right? Clone Wars has some episodes that's just like, what the hell am I watching? This is stupid.
If anyone's seen, like, I think it's in season 5, there's an episode where they have like 6 droids go out to a planet, and you at the end of that, you're like, wow, this is a kid's show, and it's just goofy. Star Wars is goofy sometimes, and that's fine, but it's like one thing that I'll think that's goofy that I can almost say. I mean, this is subjective too, but I think almost everyone agrees. How does that fire kill everyone? Right? Unless there's something interesting to it, something that we don't know. The fire in episode 3, how does that kill everyone? Why are they all still, like, why are they all in the same place? If I'm on fire, I'm running around, flailing everywhere. Like, there's so many little things about that just seem weird. These really powerful, strong with the Force magic witches, for lack of a better term, they just die all in the same place to a lantern. Like that seems overly goofy to me, and that seems overly goofy to most people, and that's why they throw that out there. But you can take that one both ways too. But yeah.
Yeah, those are what you guys think down in the comments. I know a lot of like the way it's kind of panning out is the older audience not so into it, the younger audience a little bit more forgiving. That's usually how these things kind of turn out, and that's fair. That's because you have pre-established bias. Nothing wrong with that. That's the way the world works. That's not just Star Wars or media reviewing. So that's nothing against anybody. But yeah, I want to know what you guys think down in the comments. If you're on podcast, hit us up on Instagram or Twitter or something. Let me know what you guys think. There's plenty of opinions to be shared that I think are valid, because there's a lot of different ways to view this show for sure. But I don't think it's either one or the other, So yeah, let me know what you guys think. If you guys are on podcast, don't forget to hit that download and follow. If you guys are on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Helps out the channel a whole lot. And yeah, with that, we will see you guys again here next week for stream at 6. And yeah, we'll see you then.
Peace.